Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Middle and High School Chorus Professional Learning Community on the Georgia Department of Education platform. This platform was created for educators to collect, collaborate, and support one another. Be sure to set up your notifications to your liking and check back to engage in discussion as often as you wish. Please share this platform with your colleagues so that we may continue to grow and share beneficial information specific to middle and high school choral education. The more colleagues active yields more opportunity for us to share and grow from one another. Don't forget to provide feedback on the thread as well as comment on the video so we'll know how we're doing. I'm Brandy Dent, and I will be your virtual professional learning community lead for middle and high school chorus. So we're on webinar 9. If you missed webinar A, make sure you go back to see it. It was all about developing and maintaining a budget within your school choral program. This webinar is all about parent organizations and booster programs, and then webinar C will be about inventory and repairs. So let's get started. At some point, you're going to need help from your parents. So you might as well set up some type of organizational program so that they can assist you with all the tasks that are included in being a choral educator. So how do you get volunteers? My particular way of going is to host a meet and greet. It gives you an opportunity to not only meet your parents, but also to meet some of your incoming students and to get reacquainted with your former students. So host a meet and greet. It doesn't have to be anything super crazy, just maybe an ice cream social, or maybe even just a way for them to drop in and have coffee. It's so simple, very inexpensive. Just get it done. I even combined my meet and greet with our open house at my school one year. I just kind of put out a separate flyer and let them know to drop down to my classroom. A lot of times, even at open house, sometimes the connections teachers or the specials teachers may not even get a visit. So this is a sure way to get them down to your classroom, have a little small snack, and to see what you have going on for the year. And of course, give them the opportunity to volunteer at the beginning of the year. If they don't know what they're needed to do, they'll always just tell you, just let me know what you need. But if you let them know what you need from day one, you already have what you need. So give them the opportunity to have something to volunteer for, either it be for to help with a fundraiser, a car wash, or even a concert. Just make sure that you give them that opportunity. Um, Let's get their contact information. You may have a particular app that you use or some type of platform that allows you to communicate with your parents, but you can't do that if you don't have their contact information. Check your, we use Infinite Campus in my district, so a lot of parents' contact information is there, but maybe it needs updating. So if you can get that updated information to your bookkeeper so that everything you need is in Infinite Campus, you can use that as your way of contacting. But regardless of the fact, make sure that you have a way of getting in touch with them when and if you need them. And of course, make sure that they're approved. A lot of times we want to take our volunteers on trips with us or on particular field trips. And if they're not approved, if they haven't gotten a full criminal background check done, it could be declared unsafe for you and your students. So make sure that you check with your district on what are the rules for having a volunteer within your school system. Make sure that they're approved. Next, when you have your volunteers set up, delegate the responsibility. If it's a particular concert, you may need a parent to watch students. You may need a parent to help serve food and refreshments. You may need someone to help with costumes and uniforms, or you might just have something else that's going on that you need parents for. So delegate that responsibility so you're not bouncing from here to here to here with no adult eyes. You also can get parents to help you with fundraisers. Whenever there's a fundraiser, if it's a huge fundraiser, you might want to have a parent come in throughout the school day to write the students' names on the material if it's not already done. You might have a fundraiser that is all about food. You need servers, so you might have the parents come in to help cook or even serve. Even at a fundraiser, uniforms are needed. Sometimes people are picking up t-shirts or whatever the case may be. So just have a way where they can sign up for something specific so you'll know and they'll know exactly what they're doing. And let's not talk about field trips, because you always need help on field trips, either it be to watch students, to watch purses and jackets, to help serve food if you have sack lunches, or even take kids back to the bus. So whenever you start out the school year, just remember to begin it with getting that parental buy-in, getting them to sign up for things, and they'll be able to help you have an easier school year. Now let's talk about communication. Back in the day, the only way of communicating with parents was basically by sending a letter home. I teach middle school, and I know from experience, those letters never make it out of their book bags. They just kind of sit there. So you're probably going to have about 25% of your parents that will know what's going on. Me personally, I send a paper copy and then I send an email as well. If you send an email, usually it reaches a whole nother slew of parents because it goes directly to their phones or to their computers and they check them regularly. So you're reaching even more parents by using two forms of communication. I take it a little bit further for myself. I also use a tool called remind.com. It's a free service where you can literally have parents sign up for this app and you're able to send reminders. Let's say you sent the letter 2 weeks prior to the event. You sent out the email 2 weeks prior to the event. Some parents, they got it down. But that other 30%, you got about 50% parents that know exactly what's going on. But that other 30%, they're forgetful. You got 80% participation now because you've sent out a reminder 3 days before the event. So now it's fresh in their minds. They saw it on their cell phone. It came through as a text message, and now they're ready to help participate. And then you'll have even more participation if you also have parents that have volunteered. So in your program, whatever your goals are, just make sure that you are making people aware of what's going on. So communicate with those parents. Even have a parent that might be in charge of sending things out with your approval, of course. But if you need a letter drafted or you need something that expresses what's going on, meet with those parents monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, however you decide to do, and set up parameters to where you get the stress alleviated from you. Your job is to teach your choral students during instructional time, but it's also our job to make sure that our parents are aware of what we have going on outside of the school. So just make sure that you set up some form of communication so that everyone knows. And let's talk about booster meetings. I am not an expert at booster meetings because I've never had a direct booster program in reference to money, but I've had a great variety of parents to assist me. So I'm giving you a little timeline on how maybe you can set up your meetings for your booster program. Meeting one. This is the meet and greet that I was telling you about. This is where you meet with your parents and you express some of the goals and some of the field trips or performances that you have for the school year. And then you go ahead and delegate parents that are going to help. Maybe there's something that you need to set up for the future dates. But whatever the case, someone will volunteer for something and you delegate that responsibility to that parent and your hands are off it until the next meeting date. Also at this first meeting, go ahead and set up your future meeting dates. Have your school calendar handy, have your sports um, games, dates in hand, and try to work around anything that's going on at the school so that you have future meeting dates already established at the beginning of the school year. Meeting number two. Maybe this is where you want to kind of fill out who your parents are. Maybe you already know who they are, and you can do this at meeting one, but I would totally elect officers. Maybe you need a secretary. You might need a treasurer if your parents are going to handle the funds for your core program. Whatever officers you need, make sure that you have them elected at least by meeting two. And then go ahead and start planning your events. Make sure you're able to see if your parents are trustworthy because they've done what you asked them to do at the first meeting. Their commitment level is clearly because they're at this second meeting again, or maybe they've communicated with you if they can't make it. And then make sure that they're capable. If there were some things that you told them to find out, maybe to help get information on a hotel for a field trip, maybe you told one parent to see if they could secure a venue for you all, or maybe one parent is reaching out to someone about a fundraiser. You'll know if they're capable if they attend that second meeting and they're giving you feedback for what you asked. So this is you just basically filling out those parents to see who's actually there to assist you. And the next meeting. This is where you start to solidify who your sponsors are for the year. You've set some financial goals, hopefully. You already have some people that have volunteered their service, but now it's time to establish what you actually need for the school year. This might be 3 months into the school year, or it might be 3 or 4 weeks into the school year. You determine when your meetings will be, but your parents will help you determine how to get these things handled. And then your fourth meeting, this is when you really start to solidify some dates with your parents, the field trips, the calendar of events for your core program. Finalize those plans and begin setting dates so that now the stress of wondering what the year is going to be like is already planned. And you have parents that have helped you plan it, so they're aware of the process as well. And it just makes things so much less stressful. It's always good to have more adults in your pocket to assist you with handling children than you believe. And then I found this awesome thing from Walton Chorus's website, and it was about booster sponsorship benefits. Now, I understand it a little bit, but I was able to pull that looks like as soon as someone gets a sponsor, students get points for their Letterman jacket. So if you're teaching high school, this is an awesome way to kind of boost your students' morale by making them work to find money, find sponsors. Their parents will help, and you're able to get those sponsorships. So take a moment and look at this and let your ideas just take control. Again, I was able to get the cost required from rustling.org and also the sponsors information from Walton Chorus's website. So maybe you have some more resources to share with us that will help us with a booster club. These are some tips and tricks for me when I set up meetings with my parents. Have an agenda available. No parent really wants to just sit there and wonder when they're going to be done. So have a plan so that you know exactly what it is that you need to talk about at that meeting. Keep a record of attendance. Why? Because you never know when you'll need it. It's good to know that you have parents that are being active, and it's good to know how many and who attended these meetings in case you need that information for future. Get approval before a parent touches money. If it's not approved for you to have a booster club at your school, meaning a parent who's in control of your money and writing your checks, don't do it. Um, Things have changed over the years where a lot of booster clubs have kind of dissolved. So whatever the case, just make sure that you get approval before you decide to form a booster club. Your booster club might just be for parental help and not for the financial side. Refrain from a parent running your meetings. You don't want to allow a parent to take over your program because it's your core program. You are the expert, you are the educator, and the last thing you need is some parent to say something that's not professional even for your meetings. So just make sure that you run your meetings and you continue to keep control of your program. You decide your theme for your concerts. You decide what you're going to do for your musicals. Your students can help and your parents can give you input, but it's still your program. And keep record of meeting attendance and minutes. So if you don't have a secretary, make sure that you know what was discussed at that previous meeting, because how else are you going to grow and get better? You'll find yourself backtracking and literally repeating some of the same stuff over and over. So keep a record so that you know exactly what you was decided before so that you can move on to the next tasks. And then, of course, set a calendar for all future dates and set up reminders so that they can already be sent out for the year. You can't remind people if you forget. So if you've decided to go for the first Monday of every month, then go ahead and set up a calendar that every Sunday at 6 p.m. Reminder message is going to go out to parents to remind them of that meeting. There are ways around doing things so that you don't have to stress. Your job is, again, to worry about getting those wonderful babies singing. Make sure you stay tuned for my webinar C that's coming up. And thank you so much. Continue to teach well and continue to enjoy those singers.